Boys, girls, and everyone else, we are back with another Warcraft Rumble video, and we are going to be completely redoing our Molten Core raid guides for you guys. Each video will be tailored to a different boss and break down the mechanics, as well as the best leaders to utilize, as well as minis. But before we get into this one, guys, I do want to give a very special shout out to Warcraft Rumble for sponsoring today's video. Thank you guys for working with us, and let's get straight to it. So, once again, the first boss of the raid in Wing 1 is going to be Lucifron. Now, pretty straightforward boss. I've fluctuated on the heroes, or the leaders, if you will, that I use the most. I used to just throw like Hellscream at it just to like get it out of the way, but I wanted to make this guide as pertinent as possible, so to really spread out your range of leaders to utilize. So I would actually recommend Maeve for this one. Let's go ahead and start the video. I do apologize, I don't have audio. This was pre-recorded on my phone, and I unfortunately had it on vibrate, which muted everything. So L. But okay, here we go. Again, this boss, I will pause throughout this. We're actually both using Maeve. The mechanic is very much the same as it has been, which is that there is going to be two ads on either side. It's sort of the map itself is sort of separated in half. You can drop on one half in the middle, and then your partner can do the opposite. Your goal is to drop a quill barrel or a safe pilot somewhere in between this tower and the mini here. This mini actually mind controls the first, well, your first mini that or leader that goes into the purple ring on both sides, and then will fully attack anything of yours that comes in its way. So you do want to sort of multi-layer your frontal attack. So you're going to want to put, like I said, either a quill barrel, a safe pilot, your eggs are not a terrible idea because they'll mind control one of them, but then they won't necessarily explode. You know, it's like that's a whole thing. So they would explode, but then you sort of blow up everything, and then he's just going to mind control the next one. So don't use eggs. So safe pilot, cool burrow, and then immediately after that, either use blizzard or execute. Now I have execute at, gosh, I think like level 29. So I use execute basically exclusively, and I would highly recommend those of you that are, as you progress and level up your minis, make sure you prioritize execute, especially if you want to focus on PvE content, because it is just a game-breaking spell come later in the game when you're actually going to the end goal of raids, which we will cover when we cover RAG in this video series. So let's go ahead and let this run a little bit more. You can see that I get a safe pilot in the beginning. I do drop my eggs in the beginning. You can see he's going to go ahead and take one. There you go. One's mind controlled. The other one's just blow up. And then that allows us to go ahead and focus down everything else. Now, you do need to deal with your fire elementals that are coming your way. Just throw literally anything at it. Eggs are really good for those as well, or harpies if you're using them, or just take one with a banshee. But not many people use banshee for this boss because, again, you're using a Maeve deck, which means you're using all boundless or unbound minis, so that way you can get your Maeve sort of reset down to one super fast, because Maeve is also really good for taking the towers, and once you get into phase 2 of this boss. So phase 1 is pretty straightforward. Kill those minis, get the towers. You can see that we're sort of spread a little thin in terms of not actually getting either tower. Ideally, we would have at least captured one. That was not the case. So there you go. Now I got my quill barrel. He got his tower. Now I'm working on mine. He's working on defense now as well. So you can see my quill barrel's up there, and my Maeve, which is doing decent work. And then he dropped his Maeve and killed it. So there you go. Teamwork makes the dream work, and we got the tower. So now we can actually push towards the boss. The boss is pretty straightforward. Once you do this mechanic, you do want to collect as much gold as possible, because it is a very fast reset once you get the health bar of the boss past that first tick mark, which is, again, going into phase 2. Phase 1 is just sort of tank and spank, which is exactly what it sounds like. You just have somebody tank the boss, and then you drop all your unbound minis to do all the damages. You can see that we're getting ready to push it into phase 2 right now. He does a big AoE with the purple. It kills everything, including the towers, resetting them, and then the mind controls come back. You do want to drop a unbound mini both on the tower and the mini. That way you can actually not let the tower fully take over, but also kill this guy as soon as he can. So you can see that we did just that. Unfortunately, his tower did get captured, but his execute was primed and ready to go. Actually, it looks like I'm not using execute on this deck. I must have switched it out or forgot to switch it in for this run. But I would highly recommend that, even with the Maeve deck. And then it's just the same thing all over again. So you just rinse and repeat into phase 3, which is the last one. So phase 1 is the same as phase 2, and then phase 3 is slightly different. You do get more fire elementals, and then he's going to start doing damage on your base. Is it this little purple sphere that you saw the boss throw? It sort of went off screen. He just starts hitting your base directly, so it's sort of like a soft enrage timer, if you will. Again, same thing. You want to try to interrupt the boss from, or the mini boss, if you will, the mini ads from mind controlling too many things, but also you want to stop the towers from being taken over, and we did just that. And then you go ahead and just throw your people at them. You're going to be taking a non-trivial amount of damage from that. I mean, it's you can ignore it for the most part. You can see it's like it's not going to kill us in 4 hits or anything crazy. So you basically just rinse and repeat the same mechanic, kill the tower, kill the mini ad, push the boss, tank and spank it. And that's basically it for this first fight. It is one that, regardless of how many times you do it, you can still very easily mess it up. In fact, this took us 2 attempts, and we have fully cleared Molten Core several times. So just because you are high enough a level where you can literally shoot through it, or you could think you could shoot through this raid, you still have to do the mechanics. Like it is not fully cheesable where you can just skip it. Like the mechanics are always relevant. So make sure you learn them, thus by watching this guide. Like the video. So again, that is our first W there on Wing 1. Again, I am using a full Unbound Mini sort of deck with my Eve. You can use other things, and not if my Eve is like one of your higher level leaders. One that I actually used to use is Hellscream, because he's not necessarily good for this deck or good for this boss, but he's one that isn't key to any of the other raids. Because keep in mind, guys, if you're not aware and this is your first time to the channel, well, first off, welcome and hello to Warcraft Rumble and welcome to the community. But you want to make sure you actually can only use each leader 1 time per boss. So you actually get a lockout on each leader when you beat a boss. So now that I have beaten this boss, the first boss, with my Eve, I cannot use my Eve for any other boss in this entire raid. So you do have to plan out for the long haul. Basically, you want to make sure you have the hardest bosses, you have your best leaders, and when you get to the point where you can really sort of flex in the key units, which we're going to talk about throughout this video series. I mean, if you do want to see the full series, make sure you like and subscribe, and of course, download Warcraft Rumble using the link in my pinned comment as well in the description of today's video to join me, because we got new sieges coming in. Season 9 is afoot. We have a Cenarian family now with a 3rd leader coming in Season 9. Lots of fun things coming to the game. But boy howdy, in-game PvE is so much fun. I literally look forward to this, and I do it with my guild. It's actually so much fun. But anyway, so Hellscream is another option. Again, if you need to min-max it, my Eve is probably the best bet with an execute in it, and then all unbound units. Outside of that, do whatever you can. You know, other minis that aren't super relevant into many other bosses would be like a Hogger. Hogger isn't really used anywhere. I mean, you could use him on a certain boss, Golmag later on, but not incredibly pertinent. Really, Hellscream is one. Oh, what's her name? The Banshee Queen, dude. I'm spacing on names. Sylvanas. Oh my gosh. I've played Horde my whole life in WoW, and I can't remember Sylvanas' name. That's offensive. But anyway, so she's a good option as well, but really my Eve is the best go-to. And that's it for round 1, Wing 1, boss number 1 of the Molten Core. I'm going to be doing a full series updated guide, because I already did several of these already, but it is time to update them because, like I said in the beginning of the video, there have been some changes. So Wing 1, boss 1 is down. Let's go to boss 2 of Wing 1 in our next video, which will be coming up shortly. So make sure you like and subscribe. And once again, thank you so much to Warcraft Rumble for sponsoring today's video. And I look forward to seeing you guys in tomorrow's video, where we talk about the second boss in Wing 1. See you later. Bye.